Hey, Tim Sykes here. Friday afternoon, stock market is dropping as usual, down nearly 3%. Heading into the weekend, everyone's always scared of coronavirus news. It's getting pretty bad in a lot of big cities all over the world, and now specifically the US. Tough market, and I hope that you're staying inside. I hope that you're quarantining and staying safe. This is real, right? Like, I've been warning about it since January. Most people ignored me. I was called a fear mongerer. But if you know me, the way that I trade, the way that I live, I'm always an err on the side of caution kind of guy. When my whole group of friends wants to go skydiving, I'm like, no, I went skydiving a decade ago twice, and I got sinus infections both times. I don't need to do that anymore. Right now is just not a time to be aggressive in your life. But I do believe it's time to be aggressive in trading. So if by the end of this video lesson you understand why, please leave a comment underneath the video saying, I will capitalize on opportunity. I will capitalize on opportunity. Those 5 words, because a lot of people are really sad right now. They think the world is ending. I think actually the world will probably be better for this in the end. We've learned a lot. We realize now that we can't necessarily live the same way that we used to and take things for granted. But in terms of trading, there is so much opportunity. And the fact that we're all home, or most of us are home, and have internet access, we have this tool that I want us to capitalize on. So even though the market is crashing, guess what? My top students and I actually just had record profits. It's actually kind of crazy. A lot of people are like bored, like they don't know what to do at home. I mean, I'm just trying to keep up with so many damn stocks. I made nearly 50 grand the past 30 days. Not all wins, some losses. And, I'm trading a little smaller than normal lately. CYDY, really underestimated that yesterday. I made like 6 grand. I'll do a whole video lesson specifically on CYDY in a little bit, but that's not really a coronavirus market kind of play. That's more of a panic pattern that we haven't really seen so perfectly in quite a while. And props to Tim Grittani for making 40 grand yesterday, shorting it. He was long in the morning though, and I warned him not to be long. So I'm going to take that as my little feather in my cap. But I was dip buying it, and I underestimated it so much. Let me just show you CYDY. Let me just compare and contrast, because a lot of people watching this have no idea what I'm even talking about. Like, what's a coronavirus play? What's a morning panic? For example, CYDY has been a strong stock. And we had a perfect panic yesterday from the mid 3s all the way to 2. And I was dip buying it into this drop and thinking like, wow, this is just, this thing is just panicking so perfectly. It's crazy. Bounced all the way from 2 to 270 before coming back down. Today, it nearly hit 3. So 50% bounce off the lows, even though we had a nice downtrend. We also had a nice uptrend. So I'll go over that in detail in a little bit. But long story short, there are opportunities if you're prepared, if you know these patterns. So CYDY was fantastic, and so many people made like 10, 20,000. Moonshot in the challenge chat, I got to give him props. He was making, I think, 25,000 on Wednesday, and then I think, or Tuesday or Wednesday. Then he made like another 15,000, so 40,000 in 2 days. I just want you to understand that it's not just me. It's so many students. Here's Jack Kellogg, made nearly 80 grand last month. Highly, highly recommend following him. Jackaroo Trades on Twitter, and he's in the challenge chat all the time. He made another few hundred. Here's another Jack. It's not just about making 50, 60, 100 grand. Jack Jablonski, first 4-figure month. So that means that it's the first time he's making over 1,000. And he made 6,000 on the month. Lots of little gains added up. If you go into Jack Kellogg or my stuff, lots of little gains added up. And I do have to give props to a few other students. Mark Croock, 161,000 for the past month. But the biggest winner and the guy who you really should get inspired from and buy is Tim Grittani. He made nearly 700,000 in the past month, okay? And that puts him at $10.8 million in total profits now. Every single trade shown, not winning every single time, but winning 67% of the time. And this is a fantastic gain. And he's just nailing it left and right. He gave a great challenge webinar last night. He went over a bunch of plays. He was also shorting ATHX. I didn't even look at this today. This was a big recent winner. People are asking me, like, what do you trade? I wait for the patterns to come to me, okay? ATHX, I probably should have traded that. I probably should have shorted that, but I really have gotten better at going long and dip buying. And yesterday, ATHX, and even today, the dip buys have been terrible. CYDY, another big winner, but a little choppy. I'll give myself a little excuse why I didn't profit hugely, but still made $6,000 yesterday. Just dip buying panics. And it wasn't necessarily a panic right at the open like I prefer, but it was a big, giant panic. I'm also buying speculative stocks with news that are spiking. I missed PRED today. This one is spiking on some coronavirus testing news. And you basically have to look for the morning spike and see if this has legs. I think Tim Grittani and Jack Kellogg were both buying this. I went with CVSI because they got a patent. Made a little bit, but I got faked out on this downtrend, even though it did eventually get to the 70s. Here was my trade, in case you're wondering, because I know a lot of people talk about big gains and they just show like their monthly stuff. I like showing all the intricate trades, trade by trade, how much was risked. Okay, it's not just, oh, I'm making 30 grand in a week, because a lot of people post their 30 grand in a week or 30 grand in a day, but they're trading with a $2 or $3 million account, especially these short sellers. And they don't talk about the risks or the fees or their losses either. But this was my trade on CVSI. They got the patent news. It was a little midday, so I'm not going to be great at it. And I lost. I lost a few $100, sorry. But I risked a few $1,000. 64 cents times 7,000 shares. I'm putting in roughly $4,000 into this trade. Okay, so this is not like a huge amount of money, whether I make or lose. And the interesting thing is that CVSI, even though I took a small loss, I was actually right. It did go to the 70s. But again, when I'm trading midday, it's not going to be perfect. I'm not going to give myself, I'm not even really going to worry about it. I had a little profit on CYDY morning spike. Overall, I'm green again today. For the week, by the way, it's not just about what you can do for the month. I don't think that you necessarily need to be obsessed with, why is this not working? Not 9 months. Well, 90 days, you can see I've made 67,000. But the interesting thing is I've actually done really well in the past month. But this week, it's not all about how much you make in a month. I'm making 11 grand this week. And like I said, towards the end of this week, I've gotten less aggressive, traded smaller, because we're just not seeing the huge, coronavirus movers, at least not Thursday and Friday. Earlier this week, it was fantastic. Last week, it was fantastic, which brings me to this amazing thing. So there's a bunch of different plays. You can add them all to your watch list. Always remember, recent winners. But the best thing that you can do right now, the absolute best thing, as you're watching this video, whether it's a Friday or a Saturday or Sunday, is get studying for this. This is my new 2-hour course, and it's going to be completely free. I'm going to give you the link right under this video. I've been working on it for several weeks, just taking advantage of the market opportunity. Because I could, get you inspired. I can show you, look, I made 500 here. I lost 100 here. I made 1,000 here. I lost 200 here. It adds up over time. Small gains add up over time. Look at Tim Grittani. He's made nearly 700,000 this month. But you need to know how to spot these stocks on your own, okay? It does you no good to follow my alerts or follow alerts from anybody. I want you to be self-sufficient. And the only reason why Tim Grittani and I, even post is just to inspire you and to give you a kind of framework, because 99.9% of people are losing money right now in this market. 99.9% of people are not taking advantage of the opportunity. 99.9% of people don't think that it's possible to turn $1,500 into $10.8 million now, or make $700,000 in a month. It's amazing what you can do if you are self-sufficient, when you can find these stocks on your own and you take the meat of the move. And I tweeted this yesterday. Let me just go through my tweets for a second. Keep tweeting at me. Sorry, I didn't have Twitter for a little bit. I got hacked, so I didn't have Twitter for like 2 weeks. Now I'm back and I'm very happy. But this was pretty crazy. Last night I tweeted this. This was yesterday, and I made 6,000, but I totally messed up on CYDY. Could have easily made much more. I sold way too soon. Jackaroo made 5K, but he was also upset with his ATHX trades. And Sublime Trades, another great trader, made 3,000, but he messed up. And all three of us said that we messed up, and it was kind of funny to see other people like in the chat room being like, what, you made 3,000, 5,000, 6,000, but you guys aren't happy? You'll realize that this is not a perfect science, okay? And we're trying to get better. And by the way, this guy Alex said, there's a pandemic and you're bragging about profits. Donate your profits for masks, respirators, and help people across the world. And I said, Alex, I do. I donate all my trading profits to charity. Just donated 50,000 to direct relief. Catch up with what it is that I do. I do donate all of my profits because, again, I'm not in this for trading profits. I'm in this to teach you the process. And like I said, this is not an exact science. So even if we do amazing and have solid profits, people that would like to make that over the course of the month, we're not going to be perfect timers. And the funny thing is, I said, all you can do is focus on the best plays, try your best, take the meat of the move, accept your gains or losses, and learn from what we did right and wrong and come back stronger, wiser, better the next day. I'm getting a few retweets and likes, but the really accurate stuff, like the hard, like nasty details, people don't like as much. They like more what I'm learning on Twitter, just with people who tweet like, this is funny. Like, I am sick of people saying that they're, I can't do this. I doubt myself. And I'm like, listen, you can do anything you want in this life. Ignore your haters, doubters, believe in yourself. But this is just very general. When I actually get into the fact that, like, yeah, even after 20 years of trading, it's still not going to be a perfect science. They don't really like that as much. But that's the reality, okay? And I do want you to believe in yourself, but I also want you to realize that it takes studying, okay? Why am I making a brand new guide? I already have so many video lessons because there are a few nuances and characteristics of this market right now that I think you have to be aware of. If you study, my How to Make Millions guide, if you study my Trader Checklist guide, like you can see past, bad markets and how to deal with them and how not to lose your butt. I've been through the crash of 2000. I've been through the crash of 2008, did well in both. But I think this is a little different right now. And so I released this 2-hour video training course. It's just a few videos, but very useful. Also, Tim Bowen gives some great tips on how to optimize stocks to trade software so that you can really catch the fastest coronavirus movers. So it's 100% free. We just want you to sign up, and I'll give you the link underneath this video. But congrats to so many students. I'm sorry that I'm just focusing on a few. It's been a long week for me, really a long month. And I'm just trying my best to, again, take it one trade at a time, congratulate everybody on their hard work. Remind people not to get cocky, when you make 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, even if you're just starting, even if you're, Jack, and this is your first, $1,000 plus profit month and you're making 6,000, realize the potential here. Okay. Too few people realize the potential. Too few people take advantage of it. And it adds up. Small gains. Like, let me just show you these things that Jack, in case you wonder, like, how to make $6,000 in a month, like, this is it. Okay. And he's not necessarily winning on every single trade, but he's winning more than he loses. And it adds up. Like, this is the crazy thing. People take a few $100s or a few $1,000s for granted. But it adds up. This is Jack's spreadsheet. Where was Jack Kellogg? I want to show his trades too. So look at Oh, this is a little bigger, but he has some losses too, but then he has some gains. Like we had a crazy week, crazy few weeks really, the past like 3 weeks. And you can see his weekly totals were like, 10,000, 27, 24. And by the way, he corrected this. It wasn't 79.5. It was, I think he said he didn't put in some fees or something. So it was like 76.5. But whether you're making 79.5 or 76.5, it's all about you guys understanding the potential upside. Jack literally is my newest, top student, one of my top students. He's not even a millionaire yet. Okay. I think he's made a little over 300,000, but the fact that you can make nearly 80,000 in 1 month when you're prepared. Jack studies his butt off. Before this whole quarantine, I was supposed to go visit him in Connecticut, but obviously, I don't want to fly, and we really should all just focus on staying home right now. But this is what is possible. And I show you this not to so that you can copy his trades or follow his alerts or anything. Again, just showing you what is possible if you study enough, because I can't tell you how many messages I get from people, who are looking at the overall market and they're like, wow, you're in the wrong sector, my friend. Like the market is crashing. There is nothing going up. And I'm just like, you are an idiot. Or not even an idiot, but just unprepared. Like even low price stocks, like junk like TRBO is spiking, and they have, this non-contact potential solution for different like arenas and stuff where you can like check your temperature and stuff like that. And like this thing has tripled now in 2 days. Even though big companies like Boeing are getting crushed, big companies like Disney are getting crushed. We never trade Boeing. We don't trade Disney and stuff like that. The problem is most people invest and even trade they think that CNBC is the end all be all, and they don't realize 90% of traders lose. CNBC just makes $1 million a day in ads. They don't care what they say. When I was on CNBC, they're like, come with like 17 picks. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't want to trade 17 picks and I won't do it. And they're like, well, we won't have you on. So it wasn't really working. I was on, half a dozen times. It was fantastic. It was cool until I started realizing, like, wait a minute, like, I don't want to just be a talking head who gives useless picks and has like a power suit and stuff like that. Like, I want to teach people how to get an edge. I want to teach people how to actually make money. And that is not trading or picking 17 stocks and winning on like 10 of them and then losing on 7 of them and then hedging. Like, it's very much like trading like a sniper. Okay, look at the biggest percent gainers and then trade them. BSGM spiking nicely. First green day, coronavirus news today, April 7th. I think they're giving a briefing. So this could run up in anticipation. If you've seen my spikeability guide, you know that I like it when there are future catalysts ahead. I'm not saying hold this stock through the briefing on April 7th, but this will probably run up in anticipation of that briefing. PRED, first green day, doesn't have a great history of multi-day runs lately. But this one is worth watching too. And this one had a nice morning spike, even though that the Dow is down nearly 500. So it's all about looking at little stuff like that. And that's what this guide is going to cover. And we made this, 100% free. So you have no excuse whatsoever. Just watch it. Watch it this weekend. Watch it on Friday. Watch it whenever you can. And just try to understand that, this is not CNBC. This is not investing in big companies or having to lose money when the market is down overall, and instead just selectively trading whatever is hot and focusing on patterns that you're good at. Part of the reason why I bring up so many students is not just to show you that it's not just me, but every student, every trader has their own style. Some of us like going short, some of us like going long. Huddy, for example, he just texted me he made 20 grand this week. And I know he likes shorting. So I'm pretty sure he was shorting CYDY versus me. I like dip buying. We both can make money. That's the beautiful thing with these volatile stocks. If you know the patterns, if you know which stocks, again, it's not a perfect science, but you have time to study. So this video is free. Long story short, I'm going to wrap this up because I'm exhausted right now. And I'm going to be looking for anything closing strong. The beautiful thing with these low price stocks is they can run for several hours or even several days. So you just have to be aware of the patterns. And again, studying the past is your single best helper at doing that. So I'll post a link to this underneath this video. And please, if you understand what I'm saying, what did I say? I will take advantage of this opportunity, or I will capitalize on this opportunity. Say that under this video. Let me know if you're going to, and only say it if you truly mean it. You know, it's okay not to trade. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to doubt me. But I really want people to at least study up and then at least see the opportunity, even if you're not ready to trade. And I do encourage you to paper trade using stocks to trade software. And I do encourage you to trade small in the beginning, because these stocks move very fast. It's very scary. Tim Grittani on his webinar last night said, you know, he was just studying for his first 3 months and he didn't make a trade. And in case, you know, you wanted just one more little reminder at what you're getting into, here is, you know, Tim Grittani, and yeah, record month, career month. That's amazing. Nearly 700,000 in the month from his home now in the Caribbean. Life is good for him and his family. He's got a beautiful wife, beautiful baby, but he studied hard for 3 months, not making any trades. And even after making his first few trades, he did not make any money his first 9 months. So when everyone's like, oh, I want to get into the market, let me make so much money right now, I got to pay for rent, I have no job. You have to understand this is a marathon, not a sprint. This is not a little scheme. This is not a little trick where you can just, you know, scam the market for a few $1,000s. This is something where, you know, we're teaching a skill that's going to last you the rest of your life. And it takes some getting used to, because we're trading volatile stocks. We're trading with rules that are very counterintuitive, like cut losses quickly. It's not that Tim Grittani wins every time. You can see here on the left side. And I encourage you to look through his trades. You know, he's winning 67% of the time. But this is what I just want to show you one more thing. Sorry, there's so much I want to show you. But one more last little lesson here. Let me just show you by date, because now he's made over $10 million, which is awesome. And now he's making like 10, 15, 20 grand on trades. This is by date. But let me just reverse the dates. And this is the beginning of Tim Grittani's career. Okay, he's making $114, 27, losing 8, losing 10, losing 55, losing 57. Look at this, losing 99, and he calls it a trading implosion, right? $99, 47, $70. So in case you think like he's winning all the time and he's betting big all the time, no. In November of 2011, when he first got started, nearly a decade ago, he was making and losing 50, 100, 200 bucks. Okay? And you can just see all of these trades. All of these trades are public and they're all verified. And it's actually pretty amazing. You can see this. This is October 2011 too. It was late 2011 when he got started, and he uploads all this stuff. But look at this, $45, $100. Here's a $2,000 profit. That was a good one, right? But most of his things are like $50, $100. Look, this is $1. Very gutless sell. Need to trust the pattern. So he's critiquing himself even when he makes $1. And that's the beautiful thing here. So many people get discouraged when you're trading with small accounts. You're like, oh, I made $1 better than losing $1. It doesn't matter. Whether you make $1 or lose $1 or make $26 or lose $36, it's all about learning the process. Okay? And learning the process allows you to get bigger over time. And then you can start doing this. This is, you know, Jack Kellogg. And then eventually, you know, you can start doing, let me go back to Tim Grittani's. Sorry, I have too many windows open. After you get through the little stuff, then eventually you get to the big stuff. And then it gets really fun. Okay? But you still have losses. So anyways, long story short, sign up below. Watch this 2-hour volatility survival guide. That's what we're calling it. It's not just about the coronavirus stocks. Right now it is, but this kind of down market will happen again and again. World crisis will happen again and again. And again, you know, my heart goes out to the victims and the families, and I really want everyone to stay safe. But while you're staying safe, while you're staying home, you might as well study up. And I'm trying to inspire you and show you, you know, Tim Grittani, great guy, but he's not the smartest, not the best at math. I'm not the smartest or best at math. Jack Kellogg, same thing. Mark Croock, you know, Roland Ducks, Michael Good, you know, Huddy. So many people are doing this, and we're all trying to find our groove, trying to do the best we can, and it's not perfect. but studying helps. So I'll post a link to this below. Please watch it when you can, either Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Be better prepared. Ask me any questions in the challenge chat room as always, and have a safe weekend. And also, again, leave a comment underneath this saying, I will capitalize on this opportunity, something like that. Thanks.